listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
You know what it is. You know who it is. It's a full house. It's The Sizzle, and we're about to drop some bombs on you. You know what it is. It's the Hot 5 and 5 along with The Sizzle. It's all beautiful. You know who's in the building. Rich Sizzle's in the building. What's up, Rich?
What's going on? It's nice and bird-tastic outside.
Yeah, it's a flurry outside. And if you want to go out there and make yourself a popsicle, go ahead, just lay in the snow. It'll happen. And you know who else is in the building? Jay Sizzle is in the building. What's good, Jay?
Man, I'm all good. I got my hot chocolate latte, and I'm not going outside till June.
Well, there's some other people who aren't going outside to June like Tom Brady, but we're going to talk about that in a minute as we run through quickly the Hot 5 in 5. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the hottest story that should be in sports right now should be the retirement of the almighty one TB12, but it is not. It is not, because Brian Flores has filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL. And now reports are out that not only has he signed on, but some other coaches and some other players have now jumped into the fray. This could be a transformative time for the NFL. This may be something we have not seen before, and hopefully we won't see again. Number 2 on the Hot 5 and 5.
Real quick. Yeah. Remind me why he got fired again. Didn't he have a winning season with a whole bunch of nobodies?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Well, that's why you file a suit. That's why you do it. You do it just for that point. I got fired and we were winning.
Well, why didn't Lovey do that?
Because Lovey wasn't winning.
He did win. That was like a 10-6 season.
He did, but he
fired
sucked.
on.
Yeah, he still sucked. He sucked. I don't know. He just left. Maybe he wanted to go home. That's all he wanted to do.
Got you in the playoffs this year. All right, my bad. All right, I'm sorry. All three of us are together, so I'm feeling a little argumentative today.
I see. But we can't argue one fact, and that's Tom Brady. Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time. I'm not going to go as far as to say the greatest football player of NFL history, but I will say the greatest quarterback of all time decided he was going to retire on his terms.
Who else is better than Tom Brady? Who's better than Tom Brady?
Oh, you know who's better.
Give me a name. Give me a name.
Walter
Anybody?
Payton.
Oh, Jim Harbaugh?
Walter Payton.
Jim Harbaugh's better.
Yeah. I'm not going to have that.
Got one ring.
Address all hate mail. All hate mail.
Walter Payton has one ring.
Payton. Yeah. Well. Is Walter Payton top in all time anyway?
Okay.
He broke a lot of records in his career. I'll give him that.
He's top 10 all time.
Oh,
we can talk about that later.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
okay.
We will.
Later. Right.
Now, since we're talking about the Bears, actually, the Bears now have just signed a new defensive coordinator. So they now pillaged someone from the Packers and from the Colts. Now they have their offensive coordinator in play. They have their defensive coordinator in play. And none of us know who any of these people are because we've never heard of them.
No, that's not true. I have heard of, I did hear of Eberflus, whatever his name is. I hadn't heard of him before. Kudos to him for yet again creating a top tier defense with a whole bunch of no names and the Colts. I'm just saying. I heard him because of that. I'm like, who is this guy that's running their defense? Because I'm like, I want to know, because I don't know any of these people on that defensive front. So yeah, I heard of him. I was like, okay,
great. Have you heard of Billy Donovan? Because on the next
I have heard of Billy Donovan.
I had heard of Billy Donovan.
Yeah.
The Bulls went in and put the slap down on the Orlando Magic. And before you poo-poo and laugh and say it's the Orlando Magic, somehow they are nicely constructed to be able to give the foom fops to the Bulls. They have to come in and play. So you had two players almost with double doubles. Well, you did have two double doubles. You had one from Vujacic and you had one from Debo himself. And Ayo, the rookie extraordinaire, almost had a double double himself. So I
told you Ayo was going to be nice.
Yeah, he's going to be nice. It's going to be nice for them. They've got to play a little bit harder. They're going to have to pick up their defense. But the Bulls get the win. And moving on to the last topic on the Hot 5 and 5. Happy Commander Day. I know that it is Black History Month. You know how I feel about Black History Month. And in fact, the system is going to have something special for you all through the month of February. But happy Commander Day to you, because the Washington football team has announced their new names. They're the Commanders. I don't know what they're commanding, but it's okay. They're a football team. They're commanding, and it sucks.
Hey,
Could there be any worse name?
Listen, is there any actual rank of commander? I don't know. I mean, is that like a elected, appointed? Like, is that like something they just dub you? You know,
I think you dub yourself commander. You know what I'm saying? I think that's like what the tyrants. I am our supreme commander. You know what I'm saying? Because there's not like a vice commander. There's not a vice commander. There's not a commander. There's not a lieutenant commander. You're our supreme commander.
The Star Trek lieutenant commander. What are you like on Game of Thrones? Like, I'm Lord Commander, you know? Lord Commander of the Night's Watch of the Washington football team. I am Jon Snow.
God.
I think that's what Daniel Snyder just wanted to call himself. That he is the commander and it's his team. So he's the commander.
That's probably what they all call him anyway, but he walks around. How you doing, sir? Just call me commander.
Hey, do you remember on in Living Color when Louis Farrakhan took over the Enterprise on
SNL?
It wasn't SNL. It was
on Saturday Night Live.
No,
Living Color. I'm sorry, Living Color. You're right.
Living Color. You can't can't short Living Color.
The Wrath of Farrakhan.
The Wrath of Farrakhan. Maybe that's what's going to happen to the Washington football team.
Dude, you know what? You're going to play worse now that you're the commander. I wrote in the blog. You might as well. They should call themselves like the Sharks, like from Any Given Sunday. That'd have been better. They could have just been the Sharks. Commanders. Where does that come from?
Come on.
You know,
we had a whole show last year about what they name should have been. Yeah. I'm still sticking with it. They should have been the Washington Sasquatches.
Well, what you're going to do is make sure you look up here and make sure you hit that, because it's going to be up there, and you're going to touch that and watch that video when we talked about Washington and what they should be named. But I mean, the biggest thing to me is, how do you even do a logo? I mean, I'd rather, and maybe I'm crazy, and tell me if I sound crazy. Maybe I'd rather that you just stay the Washington football team. How about that?
Actually, I was sort of digging it there with the Washington football team, because absolutely, what's a commander logo now? You got to have some guy in. You got to have some guy in charge on the front of a ship doing this. You know,
he looks like
what's their mascot gonna look like?
Dude, it's gonna be. I don't know. It's gonna be back to slavery days. That's where all this started, wasn't it?
Oh no!
Yes, sir. Well, since we're already here, we might as well. It's Black History Month. We can talk about it.
Stop it! No.
Oh, we can't. Okay. The Master and Commander League.
Master and Commander League. Hey, we're the Master and Commander. You know, we're gonna be out here. The Washington Stadium now is gonna have like a plantation. You know,
gonna be cotton in one side of the end zone, and
right. You go, all the light skinned brothers able to eat inside, and all the
and all the dark. I knew you were gonna go there.
That's all right. They're gonna have me out on the field, Jack. They're gonna have me. They're gonna be like, "Get on out there." Oh.
Y'all gonna be out there with a bucket of chicken and some Faygo. You know what I'm saying?
With some Vintner's chips.
With some
barbecue Vintner chips.
That's right. It's a Louisiana. Y'all, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let me ask the question real quick.
Yeah,
sure. Is it Louisiana or Pistol Pete? Which one do you go with? Which one do you rock with? I'm
not a super hot sauce. I like hot stuff. because I don't like the hot sauce so much. Mm-hmm. But like that Valentina sauce, you ever get that stuff you can buy? That's good. And they got another sauce, a Chinese chili sauce. You can get that at Walmart. Fabulous. It's fabulous. I buy it by the jar, full or two. Fabulous. That's enough to eat. The Chinese people know how to make it hot and tasty at the same time.
I'm not listening to you. I'm taking my headphones off.
I'm more of a Frank's Red Hot guy, you know.
Okay. Yeah, you put that on everything, huh?
I really do.
I'm not. Let me ask you a question. Are you a buffalo wings type of fella? Do you like buffalo wings? It's too much hot sauce, right? Too much hot sauce. Because you got to take buffalo wings and dump them into the ranch sauce. That makes no sense to me. It's too hot. They're too hot. I don't want to deal with just, I got to cool it off to eat. It's too hot.
I don't flavor none of that stuff, man. Put that hot sauce right on that bad boy. I ain't scared of it.
Yeah, right. You know, I shake it right out the jar on top of it. You know what I'm saying?
I tell them when I order, like, save your money. Don't put no ranch, no blue cheese, none of that stuff. Just
none of that.
Hot and keep going.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
You know?
Yeah, that sounds like what the Bears are doing right now. They're getting it hot and they're just keeping it going. They've got an Eberflus. They've got a YouTube star as a GM. And now they've got a defensive coordinator who was your safeties coach and a offensive coordinator who obviously was loved in Green Bay by one man, that bad man, Aaron Rodgers. I can't even say he's a bad man. We can't say Aaron Rodgers is a bad man and we're talking about Tom Brady too. I can't say it in the both. I can't. One is one. You just can't be both. So if you're going to be both, you just, I just don't like it. I don't like it. In fact, you know who didn't like it so much? Jay just left. It just made him so mad that he just broke out and said, I'm not going to be hot sizzling anymore. And that's fine. But I'm just saying, when you talk about the Bears, you talk about what they've put together right now, Rich, I'm not mad at it. I'm not upset. I'm not great with it. I'm not jumping on for joy. It's a football team. Like, it's a football team at this point. Either they're going to do it or they're not going to.
Well, the thing is, what are they going to do it with? My expectations for them next year isn't really that high. You have an entire new coaching staff, pretty much. I understand why your boy Flus went with his guy on the defensive side. He wanted somebody that he felt like he could trust. It's my guess that on the offensive side, they're going to let that elder Packers guy pretty much call the plays on that end. Mm-hmm. But what do you have at this point? You're not going to get too crazy through the draft. You only have about 4 people you can draft, and none of them in the first round. Mm-hmm. I think you've got like a second round, 4th round, a 5th round, and maybe a 6th round or something like that. And you have nothing else. So your turnaround and win tomorrow through the draft is ixnay. Maybe next year, but not this year. So they have some money that they can put forth, but you have way too many things to answer on both sides of the field. With the line, both lines, pretty much. Your defense, I thought the defense played pretty well, but you still have an aging defense. And your secondary was very suspect. I'm surprised other teams didn't exploit it the way that they should have. Maybe that just wasn't in the chips for it. They faced the Bengals at a good time when they were still learning their system and whatnot. Could you imagine if the Bears faced the Bengals down at the stretch around week 15, 16, 17, when Joe Burrow was throwing for 800 yards and 7 touchdowns a game? You know, that would have been really bad.
Right. It could have been disastrous. But, okay, so we got to do some house cleaning. Number one, the head coach's name is Eberflus. Say it with me. Eberflus.
Eberflus.
See, you just don't want to do right. And when Coach comes on and we're talking to Coach, and then he's like, "Hey, which one is the guy that was calling me Eberflussy? Flussy? Which one did it?" And we're gonna
I'm gonna pull a J and just pull the plug and be like,
I said I recorded. I'm out.
Eberflus. Yes.
Eberflus. Yep. Eberflus. But okay, so we hear that he's a good coach. He's a coach's coach. He's the guy that you want in the field, leading men upon the field of battle. They must be led by a general. Which, by the way,
my Lord Commander in the front line.
I thought that the Generals would be a great name for Washington. Yeah, that's what I thought.
After all, George Washington's rank before he was president was general. Made sense.
General. I mean, how hard is that? It doesn't even take a team to come up with that. He could have paid us and given us season tickets and won to the Super Bowl.
Come on now.
He'd have to pay for that.
They're following in the same tradition as Chicago Bears did. Here's the obvious pick of XYZ. Here you go. And you're like, man, that's a good pick. No, we're going to go out of left field and go get this guy way out here no one's ever heard of.
Hey, do you think that Dan Quinn, it was so bad that he just was like, nah, I'm good. I'll just stay in Chicago. He said, I'm not gonna coach there. I'll just stay there for a little while. I'm gonna go back to Dallas. How bad does your team have to be that a person just pulls out?
Good question.
I'm wondering.
Give me a little background into that, please.
Okay. So here's how the story goes. Background is that Dan Quinn was set to be the new Bears head coach. It was all in play. Everybody had said, okay, Dan Quinn's going to be the man. He's the one. He's going to lead this team. And then all of a sudden, Dan Quinn heard, hey, and by the way, we're probably going to fire our head coach. But if you just sit there and chill, if we don't make it to the playoffs next year, if we don't make it deep, it could be your team. So do you take a team that can head to the Super Bowl or the Bears?
Okay. I can see this from a lot of different angles. Mm-hmm. You in one hand, you have a team that just needs a little extra push. Right. They're going to make the playoffs because they have a weak sauce division. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, you have a team that's going to take a lot of work. But the problem is there's a lot of politics that goes on with that team that takes a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And one of the things about hitting the reset button and starting over is everybody got to go. Everybody. Almost every business class will teach you that. It's like, you don't keep us, if everything failed in a business, mm-hmm. there's no point in bringing anything else back. And that's the way a business world might look at what the Bears situation is. You might have been a little too close. This might have worked a little bit, but at the end of the day, it didn't work because we didn't get nowhere. So the sure thing is to go to the team that is already winning. And you have, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, you have a little better job security. Because you go, like I said, you stay over in Chicago where realistically they have unrealistic expectations. They want to win now. They want to win next year. They're not. It's not going to happen. Right. You have a pretty much, for all intents and purposes, still a rookie quarterback with average at best offensive line, nobody to throw to, and a defense that got lucky. Was good, but got lucky they didn't get exposed. Put it like that.
Right. Okay, I'll go along with that.
You're not going to win next year. It's not going to happen. So now you're in the hot seat now trying to explain why you were supposed to turn it all around and didn't. Mm-hmm. Best bet somewhere, like I said, where you have a little better chance of saying, I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, it's one of those things now where you're looking at what would you balance out? Where would you want your career to be if you have a team that has a top defense, you have a top quarterback and running back? Mm-hmm. None of the things that you have right now in Chicago. Everything's in flux, but I'm not on that team. I know Jay is on the fence about when it comes to what do you do with Justin Fields. I believe Justin Fields, you have to. I don't believe there's an option right now to not have Justin Fields be successful, because if he is not successful, this team is going to be a disaster. It's a 5-year disaster getting ready to happen. So right now I'm not concerned with who's the offensive coordinator, the OC, the DC. I just want you to have good people who know what they're doing, who's done it before at a high level, who've been able to win in the league. And now you give this young man somebody who can help him. I know they're talking about bringing the old OC over from Carolina, and you want to do a lot of things and putting some pieces around him. But at this point, I think the best thing has to be stay the course, get the organization strong, get a strong line around the team, offensively and defensively. You've got to have strong lines and then make it work from there. That's all. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers leaves, yeah, you can take the North. I believe you can take the North, but they got to believe it. They got to do it. They got to go out and do it. So we've talked about that. We've discussed that probably ad nauseum.
Yeah, something to that though. As far as Justin Fields goes, like you said, I agree with you. He's what you got right now. The only way I would say you need to move on from Justin Fields right now is if hypothetical you have a situation that comes and falls in your lap that you can't ignore. There are some quarterbacks that could be on the move. If somehow Russell Wilson flat out says, I want to play for the Bears. Okay. If Aaron Rodgers, which probably won't happen, flat out says, I want to play for the Bears, you have to make that move. Anything else, like you said, you're kind of stuck with him at this point. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think he needs to be developed a little bit. He could very well become the next Josh Allen.
He could.
Very well. If you remember with Josh Allen's maturation, his first couple of years, he was horrible.
Correct. Right.
You know, and then it all clicked in the year before last, or last year. And all of a sudden it's like, man, who is this guy? You know, and now we're looking at him like he's a top tier quarterback, especially with the retirees. So if we can have that patience to give to Justin Fields, if we have the right offensive coordinator, the right quarterback coach, the right people to put around him. I didn't agree necessarily with the whole tutelage with Nick Foles and Andy Dalton. I think they're both great quarterbacks, but they're not going to coach him the way that he needs to be coached because his style is not going to be their style.
Right.
Just to be honest with you.
I thought about it, and I've said if you're going to go, then go big, and you have to go big with your pick. But let's think about this. It all could have been different had Tom Brady decided to come to Chicago and play for the Bears. Now, I'm not saying it was going to happen. I'm just saying it could have happened when he was making moves and getting ready to leave New England. So when it comes to TB12, Rich, I would say greatest quarterback of all time. I'm not going to say greatest football player of all time. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. But I will say greatest quarterback of all time, barring none. The records have proven it. Physically, he's proven it. I just don't know why he retired. That's the story. I really want to figure out why Tom Brady left, because he could have played some more. Okay. I mean, Tom Brady's better than a lot of cats still in the league, so I don't get it.
Let me answer that question. The reason that Michael Jordan is considered the greatest of all time in almost any sport is because when he left on top, and there was no question about it. It is not always just what you did and how you dominated. The reason people don't talk about Kobe is because when he left, and we can talk about that magical game he had at the game 82. Guess what? That game 82 didn't put him in the playoffs. Didn't even win in nothing other than a game.
Right.
We don't consider the Washington series with Jordan because we knew what that was about. We remember Jordan's last shot as winning the finals for the 6th time. It is about how you finish when you start talking about the greatest of all time. And that was one of the things I was talking about with LeBron. He can praise another person. Like you said, Tom Brady has something left in the tank, but is that team going to continue to play at a high enough rate to where they can at least get to the NFC Championship? See, Brady didn't get to that point. If his team could still at least go to the NFC Championship, I think he still plays. But he's starting to see the writings on the wall. His receivers are banged up. His line is banged up. He doesn't have consistent running backs, and his defense is not consistent either. He is been the consistent playmaker, but the quarterback can only do it for so much, and he's not a running quarterback, so he's definitely not going to run it in. So if he can't finish out on top, he has to finish out close enough. That will put him where he's at. Like you said, as far as dominance he goes, if he fizzles out and turns into, like you said, another Andy Dalton that's barely, only playing at the expense of somebody else to getting hurt, that's going to hurt his legacy. Right now, his legacy is untouchable because of when he's leaving and how he's leaving. Good move for him. But if he continues, God forbid he takes that injury or whatever else like that, becomes more injury prone, that hurts his legacy. So right now he's in it. There will never be another person, I think, that can dominate football like that and come up with seven championships. And how many times did he make the playoffs and played and won? I mean, his record in the playoffs is better than pretty much any other team's history in the regular season alone. So that when you start talking about greatest of all time, this and that, you start looking at those numbers, indisputable.
Right. I get it. Because right now the question is, whose legacy is greater? The legacy that's left by Tom Brady or the legacy that's going to be left by Brian Flores as he starts this class action lawsuit against the NFL. And from where we stand, it could be transformative. But I don't know, Rich. I don't know if enough people are going to get on board. I don't know if he's going to get the support he needs. Is this the new thing? Is this story bigger than the Tom Brady story?
It's pretty big, but like you said, it can get washed out real quick because even though he had winning seasons and he had success, he didn't have overall success. But what I was a little concerned about, like I said, timing is everything. Is the timing of this a valid point where there's still other places that he could have applied to or been open to or available to? Thank goodness the Bears wasn't involved in that I know of. I read some of the key teams or whatever, because I think he did interview with the Bears as well. But I don't think the Bears franchise is involved in that. I just think it might have been a little too soon to throw that out there. We don't know. I don't know enough about why he was terminated from the Dolphins to really say one or the other. I was shocked, and I was even more shocked. I'm like, okay, he had success in Miami. That team was complete garbage before he got there. So I don't know why he wasn't picked up, but can you say it's a discriminatory thing? Absolutely. Can you prove it? That's going to be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We can say it, but can we prove it? Those are two different things. And hopefully as this plays out, we learn more, we get more people involved who have had more problems, but we know it's a systemic problem. We know that it's a part of what has happened, not just with the NFL, but with the NBA. It's happened in the MLB. It continues to happen across. And I would even say with the NHL, it happens even at a greater level, but we don't hear about it. There's so few melanated African-American Black folk who even play hockey professionally in the American NHL. I mean, it's one of those things where what it's going to do in court, I think the court issue of it is going to be far greater. The ramifications after this is going to be greater. And right now, we're also hearing that there is an NFL team up for sale. And that one of the major, because it's different than in the NBA. Like you can go in with a consortium with a group. If I'm correct, isn't Alex Rodriguez one of the major shareholders or owners of the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Yeah, he's got something. I don't remember which one, but I've heard his name in that room.
So it's talk out there that there's an NFL team that's up for sale, and the majority owner or shareholder would be an African-American billionaire. So those little things, when you look at what's going on, when you talk about ownership now changing the course, And I can't even be upset with the Bears because now you have melanated brother who is the general manager. And for Chicago, your general manager equals your president of football operations.
Right.
So
huge move. I was a little surprised by that one.
Yeah, tremendous move. So
that's probably as bad as it sounds. That's probably why Flores left the Bears out of that.
Yeah, I couldn't name them, and you just signed a black general manager and brought in, was one of the first teams to bring in, because remember, we asked, why are you bringing in Leslie Frazier? Why are you bringing in Jim Caldwell? I mean, why are you bringing in these guys? Do we really think they were going to be head coaches? Maybe not. Coordinators, probably, but they did. They had African Americans come in for a general manager's position, which most teams don't even do that. So kudos to the Bears. Maybe. I don't know. All I know is that Jay Sizzle is under the snow. He's been snowed out. He's in a snowmageddon.
Jay Sizzle saw Olaf outside and decided to go ice skating with him. I can't even be mad with him. I understand, Hey,
man, sometimes you got to run out there and just do the thing. It's a once in a lifetime thing. You got to run out there, and then maybe he's out there singing, just let it go. Maybe that's what he's saying to the NFL right now. Let it go. Let it go.
Okay, just real quick, my question with this whole lawsuit, what does this solve? What does this resolve for Flores? Does he get financial compensation? Is he guaranteed a job? I mean, where does this go from here?
Well, the one thing, he is going to be financially compensated, but it is to open the doors. It's to legally make the NFL adhere to policies when it comes to minority hiring, when it comes to ethnic hiring and ethnic diversity. One of the things that the Bears has now on diversity team.
Harmonica while you playing that.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do.
What does that do for him?
Well, I think the major thing it does for him is probably, and please forgive me, my people, it gets him blackballed out the league. I hate a terrible term. I mean, he is probably never, ever going to be back in the NFL. Now, I could be wrong. He's in Charlotte right now, and he's got maybe one or two other things on the table. He might get named some kind of coach, coordinator, who knows. But as it looks right now, did we get Colin Kaepernick back in the league?
No, but see, I argue with this. That's a whole different ball game. All right, Colin Kaepernick, whatever you want to call it, was an average at best quarterback when he was booted out of the 49ers. Before he started the whole kneeling at the national anthem thing, he was average at best, barely clinging on, if he was clinging on to a starting job. Like I said, the difference with Flores is this was a man with, again, a whole bunch of nobodies, or, I mean, underdeveloped quarterbacks, still winning games in a tough division. He's in the same division with the Patriots and the Bills.
Right.
Never take out the Patriots, and the Bills look pretty good. Granted, the Jets are a gimme, and he still found a way to win ball games. So that I wouldn't even put Kaepernick in that comparison. This is a whole, for him, this is definitely a way better of a wake-up call to me. I wouldn't even, forget the whole Kaepernick thing. I'll say it. Yeah, I said it. I don't care. He can come on here and try to say whatever he wants to. Like I said, he was average at best. He borderline sucked. Flores, no, not the same situation. He was pretty good. I was hoping that if he didn't get a head coaching job, he'd go back and be a defensive coordinator because he has a good defensive mind.
I was just hoping now, like Mike Glennon sucks. I mean, when you talk about quarterbacks that suck and he still has a job, he's still in the league. So maybe I thought at least Colin Kaepernick could have, like, you just had him on the sideline because he had a tremendous afro. But the most important thing, and the thing that I found most disheartening and most egregious, was that Colin Kaepernick didn't even get a song from Jay-Z. Like, The story of cap? No. Stop
No.
capping. Too much capping.
Capping. Oh Lord.
Yeah, it's all cap. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to come up with some things. I think Jay-Z, it would have been great, you know.
But at best, though, you know, like I said, you go from a Super Bowl playing quarterback to being somebody's backup. I mean, that's tough to swallow, but it is what it is. Realistic. I think
Hashtag Cam Newton.
Yeah, he could have definitely settled in as a backup quarterback if he wanted to. But then the question is he willing to accept backup quarterback pay?
Oh, well, you didn't say that.
Yeah, I said it. I mean, you have to say it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I can't live. I'm going to tell you, like most great basketball players, I can't live off of 50 million. I have to feed my children, and I got a wife and kids. I can't live off of just 50 million. What kind of foolishness is that? That's pennies. I mean, what are we out here for if I can't get more than 50 million? That's all I'm saying. I can't live like that. I can't. So with that said and done, you know what it is. You know who it is. It's the Sizzle here in the building. Rich Sizzle, Jay Sizzle out in the snow with, just be safe out there, man. Don't go out there Yeti hunting by yourself. Get a friend and go Yeti hunting, and then you'll be okay.
I'm not hunting Yetis. I just want to prove they exist and then bring them to the fold. Have a brewski with them.
Now they're wild. You can't have a brewski with them. You need them as offensive linemen. Can you imagine a Yeti as your left tackle? Dog, it would be unstoppable. You get two Yetis on the left and the right side, bookend Yetis, and nobody knows how long they could play. Nobody knows how long. You get two Yetis, they may be able to go 10, 15, 25 years, you know, because I don't know how long Yetis live. I don't know.
I want to bring the Yeti back as a fullback. I am going to reinvent that position. We will have the reemergence of Jerome Bettis. Do you imagine a 3rd and 1 with a Yeti out there? We will always convert. Just saying. Like, I just need you to take this ball and go as high into that line as possible. I don't need nothing fancy, just straightforward. Straight lateral. That's it.
I'm thinking about like a Yeti as a center for the Bulls, because that's kind of what Robin Lopez looked like. So if you get a Yeti there, you talking about rim protection? Oh my God. How can you stop a Yeti? I mean, can you? All right. So, you know, now on the curl, the Yetis come and he's coming down the lane. Are you going to stand in front of the Yeti?
You might not be able to get past the smell.
That's why the lane will be clear. He clears everybody out. You know, it's funk humor. I thought it was good. Okay. Well, forget it. I'm just saying, you know who it is. You know what it is. It's the Sizzle here on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television. And we will see you, my friend, on the other side. Remember, you can always catch the Sizzle's Hot 5 and 5 right here on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television. Make sure that you subscribed and share this information with someone. Hit the button, the like button, to make sure that you are leaving those like comments. And hey, down below, tell us what you're thinking. Tell us some things you want us to look at, and make sure that you're looking for a brand new episode of The Sizzle, the hottest talk in the 219. Remember, I'm G Sizzle, and I will see you on the other side.
Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Iron Skillet Sports. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to Iron Skillet Sports on YouTube at Iron Skillet Sports.